Hello, it's Scott Manley here with Star Citizen Alpha 3.2, and let me stress that alpha part. This has been a veritable odyssey of a video to try to put together because, honestly, the game is just continuing to be terribly buggy. So, yes, we've seen all this many times before. You wake up in your pod, you run downstairs, you go to the ship console, you retrieve a ship. In this case, it's a Freelancer light freighter, or actually it's a pretty heavy freighter. I don't know, it's the medium-sized freighter. There it is, out there, beautiful. And using the airlock, complaining about the usual space air blowing in. You open the back door and run inside my spaceship, up to the cockpit. Of course, using the Inner Thoughts interface, where you hold F and then Inner Thoughts appear, such as find somewhere around here the ability to power on my spaceship, and then listen to the dulcet tones of the ship's computer.
Systems on.
And then you're off to outer space. You just fly around with that sad look upon your face. Oh wait, no, that's Gloria Gaynor, isn't it? Yeah, no, you of course trigger the quantum drive, you find some location, you appreciate the magnificent graphics that this game generally has. I'm gonna say the stills of this game do look absolutely fabulous. The number of polygons that are going into these spacecraft is probably bigger than most other spacecraft in other games. Certainly, it's a step above Elite Dangerous. So anyway, we've arrived at this small planet, and yeah, there's little... This is actually a moon, technically. It's quite small enough that gameplay can happen. So let's actually try and find a location on the surface. This is using the Mobiglass, which is kind of like the Apple Watch, but it uses a hologram projector. Now, many people say, why would you use a personal device when you have a stupidly expensive high-tech spaceship? Surely you would use the navigation computer on that. Let me ask you, if you own a car today, do you use your phone to navigate, or do you use the car's in built-in navigation, which is typically several years behind your phone? I know what I use. Yeah, I know you guys with the Teslas, you like to use your built-in navigation because you know you have features that other cars don't have, things like software updates. But at least from, you know, a user interface perspective, it kind of makes sense to have that menu continually accessible and centralize all operations through it. And of course it is a spaceship game, and spaceship games you might have to shoot some stuff. This may be a freighter, but you know what, those guns are pretty big, and I'm not half bad pilot, at least when I remember to target it. I don't know what I was thinking, but I clearly was at this time trying to remember which button on the keyboard actually targets things, after ramming the target as well. Again, the advantage of being in quite a large spaceship. The Freelancer is, of course, named in reference to Chris Roberts' the last game he made, the one he made before, of course, he quit the video game industry to go to Hollywood and show them how to, you know, be creative and stuff. It was one of like 5 original spaceships mentioned in the Kickstarter. Of course, they added many since. But hey, you know, I'm not a bad pilot, and this spacecraft is clearly not flying very well. There we go. So, you know, the space combat works. In fact, with Arena Commander, it can actually work really well. Arena Commander is, of course, the, you know, the standalone deathmatch kind of thing. And I think it actually has many advantages over the regular game because, you know, with 6 Degrees of Freedom fighting, you know, you don't have any of the energy management or you know, flight envelope or stuff to consider. So to make the game interesting, it's very hard to do that when you're flying around with no terrain to hide behind. Everybody ends up kind of either jousting or circle strafing, and it can be kind of boring. Arena Commander has asteroids and debris and stuff getting in the way out the wazoo. It looks great. In deep space, you tend to just run around and shoot things, and it tends to just be a battle of skill. And honestly, they've made the hostiles that I've encountered a whole lot weaker, like literally being able to shoot these things down, sometimes with a couple of shots. As I said, the game does still look pretty good regardless. So anyway, what has happened new in the last 6 months or so since I really tried to play this? Well, first of all, back when I played it about 6 months ago, the frame rates were utterly terrible. I could not get on and get decent frame rates. It seems that every time I'm coming on, I'm getting at least 15 frames per second unless something weird is going on. And, you know, it actually can be pretty smooth. This is definitely a lot better. It depends on when you log in and whether the server is about to fall over. And yes, the servers still occasionally fall over. The good news is the client isn't falling over nearly as much as it used to. Since the first launch of 3.0 with the planets, well, now you can trade, you can buy stuff, fill your cargo hold with it, carry it to somewhere, and then sell it and make money. That's great. 3.2 has added asteroid mining, but to do the asteroid mining, you need to have a spacecraft which supports the mining gear, and there is only one of those in the game. It's called the Prospector, and it costs something like $180. So right now there is still no way to acquire ships with the in-game money. You can acquire them for Arena Commander, but that feature is explicitly disabled in the sandbox. So if you unlock a spacecraft using in the Arena Commander, you don't get to use it in the rest of the game. That was possible early on, but that got stopped. Probably because of data incompatibility. I'm sure it's nothing to do with them, you know, selling spaceships as their main way of funding the game right now. One nice feature, which I don't know when it got added, but I am quite appreciative of, I park my spaceship on a planetary surface, and then when I go down to lay down in my bed, yes, it's great that we had that animation for a long time, but now laying in bed actually has a purpose. You can bring up the inner thoughts dialogue, and you can log off, and it will remember where you are when you log back in. In theory, you can, the next day or several hours later, you can get out of your bed, you can walk around. And yeah, I went away for a few hours because I had to go and see a movie, and I came back and it was all daylight, so I could run around and explore this glorious piece of real estate. Now, none of the worlds you can visit right now is particularly teeming with life. They tend to be moons of Crusader. They have perhaps the odd installation here and there that you can visit. And in some places you can do stuff, not every place has thing to do. This is I don't know, an emergency shelter or something I saw. Not really sure what it is. Notice also the gravity on this planet is slightly lower than normal, which is nice. In Elite, of course, you can get out and drive around on planets in the SRV. As of right now, it's still not possible to walk anywhere. But truthfully, even although the planets are 10 times smaller than normal, you wouldn't want to be walking long distances. And you have the Grey Cat and stuff. The Grey Cat was originally introduced as a little rover to drive around inside the hangars of people that had too many spaceships. I mean, that was literally how it was pitched. Oh, you have like 10 different spaceships and you want to be able to drive down and see them all. You can spend 20 bucks and get your Grey Cat. Now you can play it in the game, so it's actually has some use. There are a couple of other vehicles that you can drive around in. I think the Dragonfly is one. It's more like a hover bike, and there's another hover bike in the game which I don't actually have either of them because I have a bunch of ships and stuff that I bought, but I'm not in the business of melting and buying and oh look, books, compilers. These are. Why would they be interested in these things 1,000 years in the future? Also, why does the ketchup look like it's a low poly thing compared to the rest of the game? And we have a workbench, which may have some features in the future, does not do anything right now unless this one is broken. A bunch of things you can't pick up. The environments are amazing. There's so many little details here and there, and the artists have done great work. But I wonder how much will actually ultimately be things you can interact with. Again, the screenshots tend to make the game seem a lot better and cooler than the gameplay ultimately demonstrates right now. But again, it is an alpha. So yeah, since I have a cargo type ship, let's head over to this mining facility where I can actually buy some wares and then carry those somewhere else. So it looks like there's 2 landing pads here. I obviously decide to pick the one that's bigger because I have this nice cool looking spaceship. Look at that, it's all shiny silver. I remember back when it was blue. That's how long I've been in this game. Yeah, run on over. Find a little spot to visit. So here we go, in through the airlock. air comes into the airlock, and we have a shipping console where we can actually do some trading. So yeah, again, you use the whole inner thoughts interface. You hold the F key and it brings up, you activate the terminal, and you can suddenly use the mouse. So you can buy quartz or tungsten or beryl or gold. The 4 pillars of any space trader's diet or something. Yeah, let's just buy maximum amount of quartz just because I want to demonstrate this thing and I don't want to spend too much money. There, spent a bunch of my alpha universal credits, UEC, I forget, universal something or other, United Empire credits. Who cares? Anyway, look, I bought some stuff. Of course, being a curious type person, I went and explored a bunch of other areas on the base, and when I returned back outside and again made that whole comment about the space air coming in, my freelancer had gone missing. Which was more than a little disconcerting since I'd spent a prince's ransom on filling its cargo bay with nothing but the best quartz this planet has to offer. I did some further exploring in a building which had a little model of an M50 Interceptor and Long Haul Quarterly, which I'm going to say if you are selling a magazine to long haul truckers, you probably want to publish it more often than quarterly because they have a lot of time to read, right? Yeah, if I look down here, it's still listed somewhere. Look, there's my freelancer. See it? Unfortunately, can I spawn it here? Please wait, please wait.
Our automated system is unable to access that ship at this time. We apologize for any inconvenience. Please try again later, or select a different ship.
What about my quartz? Even if I respawn it, do I get my cargo back? I don't know. So yeah, faffed around for a while, game crashed, so I came back, returned to Port Olisar to get myself a new ship, decided that maybe I could go back to the planet, maybe the server would have fixed itself, of course, the usual faff around, get ship, head to airlock. Just remember to wear your goggles to protect yourself from the space air. Running upstairs, we have the Mustang Omega. Yeah, this is the one that only came if you bought an AMD graphics card, and you basically get 3 free games with it. One of the games was Star Citizen, which came with an exclusive ship, a red Mustang that was designed for racing. So yeah, target the thing and head out there once again, returning back to the site of the crime that was committed against me. Coming down through the atmosphere. This, of course, the re-entry heating is dependent on altitude rather than actually velocity. But you know, Kerbal Space Program did that for a while, so I'm sure it'll get fixed too. Of course, the good news about all of this is that you just need to watch it at 4 times regular speed. I'm sure you can appreciate the fidelity of the graphics and the animations and stuff. But you don't have to sit through the long, tedious running around as I finally tried to get here and then discover that the consoles simply aren't working. They just go to a yellow screen of death. It's a yellow screen of death. It's not the blue screen of death. Regardless, those 2 consoles, even if they work, they can only spawn ground vehicles. It turns out there are no consoles at this location which will allow you to spawn your spacecraft. So absent any spacecraft, I decide to go looking for some other, another terminal somewhere. And yeah, run into this weird gravity bug and injure myself something terrible, leaving myself to expire alone and cold and whatever on an alien world. So look, I haven't been able to do very much just because I keep getting hit by bugs. I did want to show you this. This is the Prospector, which is the asteroid mining ship that's needed for the new asteroid mining feature, and unfortunately the only way to get it is through the store, which means either spending real money or melting down existing spacecraft so that you have the store credit to buy this thing. And it's like $180, so only a small number of people are really getting to do this, only the hardcore. Also, even more expensive, I think this is the 600i, maybe I'm forgetting, but this is another spacecraft that got added to the game and it got sold for a bunch of cash. It's basically a luxury luxury yacht. It's not, I don't know if it's a yacht. It's not quite as big as the other Origin. There's been a few different high quality VIP shuttle type things added. Somebody just left this parked outside Port Olisar, so I had to fly around and check it out. This is me in my Constellation, which was originally the biggest ship in the game during the Kickstarter era, but then stretch goals of course added things like the Bengal Carrier. But yeah, out on EVA you can see the beautiful straight... oh, ow. Okay. The beautiful smooth lines, which is good because some of the other spacecraft have spiky bits on it, and that wouldn't be good if I hit that in my spacesuit. So we have lasers or guns or something here. This looks like there's a bar in there. Is that what I'm seeing? Is this going to be like a floating space bar? Are we going to be able to like get into fights and demonstrate our Terras Kasi skills, right? I don't actually know, has Chris Roberts talked about alien martial arts? Oh, it looks like there's a bed there. Hey, look, we can lay in bed and watch the stars go by, or rather, everyone in the entire universe can watch us doing stuff in bed, and we know what people do in bed on luxury spaceships, right? Caution! Again, another door that's locked. So it's a lot harder to get on board ships now if you're not the actual owner, which is nice, I guess. It means that people don't randomly steal spacecraft unless you accidentally leave them unlocked. So look, I haven't forgotten about Star Citizen. I've just had a terrible time with it, and I think this is quite common for everyone. Right now, Star Citizen, like, the best thing it has going for it is the whole I'm flying a spaceship and able to get out, right? The missions aren't working particularly reliably. The physics keeps breaking. There's all sorts of random bugs. But just kind of pootering around in a spaceship and landing on planets, or and EVAing around and maybe shooting your friends, that is a fun little sandbox. It just doesn't offer enough for a lot of people to invest at this time. Like, people ask me occasionally, should I put a lot of money into Star Citizen and buy awesome spaceships? And I'm like, if you are asking anyone whether you should invest in an early access project, the answer is always no. You have to be 100% sure when you put your money into any early access venture that you are okay with this not working. But yeah, look, it can look amazing. It has so many great moments, but it has so much frustration to get some of these sometimes. So I really hope that at some point they fix up all these problems, and I can wholeheartedly recommend it. I mean, in particular, right now, one of the big features they launched is only available to players that have $180 something in the store and can melt down ships to get the one that actually implements the whole asteroid mining thing. So, being able to buy ships in the game would be pretty cool. But anyway, look, we'll see what happens next. I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe.